Good morning, everybody. We're just going to give a couple minutes to get everybody logged in, and then we will get started here in just a couple of minutes. All right, so I think we can go ahead and get started. Are you good with that, Abby?
Yeah, let's get started.
All right. So good morning, everybody. This is the public hearing for the rules regarding cannabis storage, overnight storage, and service windows. So we can do some quick introductions, and then I'm just going to go through a couple of slides that talk about the process that we've been going through, and then Abby will go through the rules as they are proposed right now, and then we'll have some time at the end for public comment. So I'm Molly Duplashane. I'm the Deputy Director of Policy for the Department of Excise and Licenses. So Abby, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Abby Borchers. I'm a Policy Analyst with the Department of Excise and Licenses.
And then I guess Joey's computer crashed, so he'll hop hopefully. Oh, he's back. Joey, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Joey Pena. I'm a Cannabis Process Navigator for the Department of Excise and Licenses.
All right, thanks, Joey. And we've got Sergeant Kafer.
Hey, good morning, Sergeant Aaron Kafer, Denver Police.
And then Erica Rogers. Erica, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Erica Rogers. I'm with the Denver City Attorney's Office.
Great. Thank you. All right. You want to go to the next slide, Abby, please? Okay. So just a quick overview of the agenda for today. We'll give some short background information on just what our rulemaking process is and where we are and all the steps we've been through already. As I said, Abby will do a presentation on the proposed rule language for cannabis storage and window service or service windows. And then there is the draft rule document that has been posted on our website. So the link is right there. And that was posted in August, as well as it was posted on our website. And then it was also posted in the Daily Journal. We'll have public comment at the end where each speaker will have 2 minutes to deliver and provide public comment. If you're interested in providing public comment, when we get to that point, just use the raise hand feature to indicate you would like to make public comment, and then we'll promote you to a panelist and you can turn on your microphone and your camera and provide that comment. This is really the most valuable piece of the process for us, is getting to hear that public comment from you all. And making sure that now that you've seen our proposed language, just hearing any input or feedback that you have on the language that we've provided. So here is what we've been working on, or what we've done so far, and just an overview of our rulemaking process. So as a reminder, on April 20th, 2021, we passed 2 new marijuana bills. Council Bill 21-216 and Council Bill 21-217. This legislation included requirements for rulemaking authority for both cannabis storage and drive-up and walk-up windows. On May 12th, we announced that we were going to be convening a marijuana rulemaking work group, and we put out a call for applications for work group members. We took some time to review, and after we received those applications, we reviewed the applicants and notified those that were selected on June 12th. And then we held our first work group meeting on June 10th, where we discussed the secure storage of cannabis at retail and medical marijuana stores, as well as at hospitality and sales businesses. The second meeting was held on June 24th, where we discussed requirements for service windows. And then we spent the next couple of weeks, months really, 2 months or so, going over and compiling and working with the city attorney's office on drafting those rules, as well as hearing additional feedback from both internal and external stakeholders. So we took the input and the recommendations that we received during those work group meetings, talked with our other internal partner agencies, and worked with the city attorneys to draft the proposed language that was posted on August 20th. So that link to that document is again posted or linked right there, and it's posted on our website. Again, it was posted in the Daily Journal, and we distributed it through a bulletin on August 20th. So that brings us to today, September 10th, where we're having the public hearing on the draft rules. Again, this is really a time for everybody to provide us feedback. We know that the devil's in the details, and so now that you have the details with the proposed language, we really want to make sure that we hear from you on any additional feedback that you might have. We are still hoping to get them adopted pretty quickly. So we, hopefully within the next 2 weeks or so, we'll have final language that we will be adopting. And when we do, we'll send that out through the bulletin as well. Just a reminder of who was on the composition of our marijuana rulemaking work group is all right there. And then down on the bottom right are links to everything that at those meetings. So you can find the agendas, the presentation from both of those meetings, as well as video recordings to go back and watch those meetings as well. So now I will let Abby jump into presenting the actual draft language within the rules.
Thanks, Molly. So we're going to start by going over the proposed rules for secure storage of cannabis and cash overnight. So just to step back a little bit and look at what the requirement was in the ordinance in the omnibus bill that passed back in April. The Denver Revised Municipal Code section 6209A3 requires that beginning January 1st, 2022, medical and retail marijuana stores shall install and use a safe in a limited access area, which shall be incorporated into the building structure or securely attached thereto for overnight storage of all processed cannabis and cash. For marijuana infused products that must be kept refrigerated or frozen, the establishment may lock the refrigerated container or freezer so long as the appliance is affixed to the building structure. Alternatively, a business may utilize security devices such as vaults, strong rooms, or other security features that are functionally equivalent to a safe as determined by department rule. And that same provision exists in the Denver Revised Municipal Code section 6218A12 for retail marijuana, hospitality, and sales businesses. And then the code also defines a safe as a metal box capable of being locked securely, constructed in a manner to prevent opening by human or mechanical force, or through the use of common tools, including but not limited to hammers, bolt cutters, crowbars, or pry bars. So in our proposed cannabis storage rules, section 3.1A just restates that safe requirement. So the first option that businesses have to securely store their cannabis and cash overnight is to comply with that safe requirement. And during non-business hours, move all processed cannabis and cash into one or more safes, which shall be incorporated into the building structure or securely attached thereto, located in a limited access area on the licensed premises. And then just restating that requirement that those products that have to be refrigerated or frozen can be kept in their refrigerator or freezer as long as it's locked and affixed to the building structure. 3.1B of the rules is a second option. Businesses can choose to use a vault for storage of cannabis and cash overnight. And the vault has to have walls and ceiling reinforced with steel mesh or with at least one layer of 3/4 inch plywood or 2 layers of 1/2 inch plywood as well as a security door with a multi-point single motion locking system. And that vault has to be located in a limited access area on the licensed premises and be used to store all processed cannabis and cash overnight. And then processed cannabis is defined as all cannabis except for immature plants and skin and body products. Section 3.2 of the proposed rules proposes a functionally equivalent alternative. So that alternative allows businesses to, or requires businesses to store all marijuana concentrates and cash in a safe or a vault during non-business hours. And all other processed cannabis must be stored during non-business hours in either an opaque, locked, non-glass cabinet or multiple opaque, locked, non-glass cabinets that are securely affixed to the building and located within either a restricted access area, so the sales floor area, or a limited access area on the licensed premises, or a locked inventory storage room located within either the restricted access area or a limited access area on the licensed premises. So the first two, just to go through one more time, the alternative is to store all concentrates and cash in a safe or a vault, and all that other, everything else besides the concentrates and cash needs to be moved into an opaque, locked, non-glass cabinet or a locked inventory storage room. And on top of that, they would need to comply with all of the following security requirements listed there on the right. So all windows shall be reinforced with bars, security shutters, bullet-resistant glass, or security glazing. All areas that are vulnerable to vehicle impact, including but not limited to all doors and floor-level windows, shall be protected with guard posts or other approved physical barriers designed to resist, deflect, or visually deter vehicular impact. Prize shields shall be affixed to all exterior doors of the licensed premises. Live remote monitoring of video surveillance at all points of ingress and egress shall be conducted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with loudspeakers allowing the monitoring entity to speak to persons at the licensed premises. And then sirens and strobe lights shall be located at all points of ingress and egress and capable of activation by an alarm system. Section 3.3 of the proposed rules addresses what should happen if the functionally equivalent security measures fail to mitigate burglary and theft at a medical or retail marijuana store or a retail marijuana hospitality and sales business. In the event that that's the case, the director may require that the medical or retail marijuana store or retail marijuana hospitality and sales business comply with the safe or vault requirement in section 3.1. And then section 3.4 of the proposed rules requires that prior to making physical changes to a licensed premises, medical and retail marijuana stores and retail marijuana hospitality and sales businesses shall obtain any required approvals from the appropriate city agencies, verifying compliance with these rules and then any other applicable laws, rules, regulations, or codes, which is already our process for modifications of premises. Okay, moving on to service windows, which is the all-encompassing term for walk-up and drive-up windows. Backtracking a little bit just to talk about that requirement in the ordinance, section 6-209A4 states that all walk-up, drive-up, or curbside pickup services must comply with any applicable zoning, public health, building and fire, transportation and infrastructure, or other local requirements, any additional safety, security, compliance procedures, or required signage established by department rule, and any other requirements established by the state licensing authority. The proposed rules have requirements for signage. So the licensee is required to post one informational sign at each service window in a place visible to customers and patients utilizing the service window. It has to be clear and readable and not less than 22 inches wide and 26 inches high. The sign must contain the following statements. You must be 21 or older to purchase retail marijuana. You must be 18 or older and possess a valid medical marijuana registry card to purchase medical marijuana. It is against the law to provide marijuana to a person under 21 years of age. It is against the law to use or be under the influence of marijuana while driving. It is against the law to consume marijuana in public. Marijuana will not be sold to a visibly intoxicated person. The licensee shall not display a menu of products available for purchase at or near the service window. The licensee may provide customers and patients with a handheld menu or an online menu that customers and patients can access through a handheld electronic device. No additional signage is permitted, and the licensee shall have lighting that promotes the safety of customers and patients walking up to a service window. Prior to accepting an order at a service window, the licensee must physically inspect the identification for each customer or patient making a purchase. The licensee must verify that each identification is valid using an electronic ID scanner and that each customer or patient is of age to purchase cannabis. The licensee shall not sell regulated marijuana to a person who is visibly intoxicated. For transfers of cannabis through a service window to customers or patients in a motor vehicle, so at a drive-up window, the video surveillance must record the front and back of the vehicle, including the license plates on the vehicle, such that the license plate number can be clearly identified. A service window must be composed of bullet-resistant glass. The service window must be securely closed at all times, except when opened to take an order or complete a transaction. The window must not be left open when unattended. When the service window is closed to the public, the window must be secured using steel shutters. Prior to operating a service window, medical and retail marijuana businesses shall obtain any required approvals from the appropriate city agencies and submit a modification of premises application to the Department of Excise and Licenses. The modification of premises application shall contain an updated floor plan identifying the service window and any other features required by the department. So we mentioned a few different specific terms throughout those rules. So I just want to go through the proposed definitions for those terms. Bullet resistant glass means acrylic, polycarbonate, or other durable material capable of absorbing the impact of a bullet in order to minimize the likelihood of breakage. Functionally equivalent means security features and practices that mitigate burglary and theft of regulated marijuana as effectively or more effectively than a safe. Guard posts means posts constructed of steel, not less than 4 inches in diameter and concrete filled, spaced not more than 4 feet between posts on center, set not less than 3 feet deep in a concrete footing of not less than a 15-inch diameter, set with the top of the posts not less than 3 feet above ground, and located not less than 3 feet from the protected object. And that definition is taken from the building code. Loudspeaker means a device capable of amplifying sound and allowing the person monitoring video surveillance to speak to persons outside the licensed premises. A loudspeaker may, but does not have to, enable two-way communication with persons outside the licensed premises. Multi-point single motion locking system means door hardware that locks at multiple points in the door and requires only a single action to unlock. Processed cannabis means all cannabis except immature plants and skin and body products. Pry shield means a strip of metal used to cover the space between the edge of the door and the door frame, thus preventing someone from being able to use an object to pry the door open. Security glazing means laminated glass, polymer window film, polycarbonate glazing, or other window security glazing techniques designed to resist the impact and minimize likelihood of breakage. Security shutters means interior or exterior accordion, rolling, or bifold shutters made of steel or aluminum. Service window means a window where customers of medical or retail marijuana store can walk up, drive up, or both for the purpose of purchasing cannabis. And a vault means a room or space where the walls, ceiling, floor, and doors have been specially constructed and reinforced against intrusion. Okay, now we'll move on to our public comment period. This is a time for you to provide feedback to us on the rules. It's not a time to ask questions or for us to really answer questions or clarify anything. We're just taking feedback on the rules as proposed. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to deliver public comment, And to indicate that you'd like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom. It's at the bottom of your Zoom window. It's a little hand. You will be promoted to a panelist so that you can turn on your microphone and your camera if you wish. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see who has their hands raised. Okay, Sherrard Rogers, I'm going to promote you to a panelist.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make a comment. The rules and regs sound amazing, but with 280E being a dispensary owner, with 280E lien margins and security costs, that's probably about $100,000. And also with limited ability to find large space capacity, because most landlords will not lease to dispensary owners because their banks will not allow them to. So we have to find independent owners, meaning smaller spaces. It may not be even feasible for a large space to be converted or have enough safe space in order to design a vault or build a vault. That's basically going to put most of the small business owners out of business because they incurred costs and the lien margins. And pretty much that's it should be up to the individual dispensary owner to make their facility secure, similar to alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and also pharmacies and various other things too. So for the larger companies who have a plethora of capital to redesign, acquire buildings and various other things, that's a perfect situation. But for the small minority business owner with limited capital expenditures, is pretty much it's unfair competition. It's going to put us out of business.
Thank you for your comment, Sherrard. Next, we have Kevin Gallagher. Kevin, I'm promoting you to a panelist.
Hey, Kevin Gallagher, sorry about the echo here. Just want to thank you guys for working hard on this and working with industry to continue to make some good changes that make this a little more operable for businesses. I think you'll hear obviously some more comments from other stakeholders, but just wanted to say that looking at the requirements in 3.2 in the newest draft, when we look at all those various requirements, that definitely goes above and beyond the requirements in 3.1. And so, our ask at Apothecary Farms here is that as long as licensees would be able to have a loudspeaker and remote monitoring, and of course, some of the other outside security requirements, such as either bars or shutters, right? That would be good enough to be exempt from requirement 3.1. Reason being is that the live remote monitoring in combination with the loudspeaker is an extremely effective deterrent that's used in a lot of other industries. And so when you have that live monitoring, when you have an individual who is coming up to a location, especially at night when the business is not operating, you have the monitor that is able to identify that immediately, able to communicate with that person on the loudspeaker, basically saying, hey, why are you here? Or, hey, we're calling the authorities. In about 99% of those cases, right, that individual is going to flee the scene, right? They've been caught by that monitor. They're going to flee the scene. If they continue to try to break into that location, that monitor is able to quickly and effectively communicate to law enforcement. And from talking with security professionals who've been in the industry, such as casino or gaming and other industries, right? law enforcement actually makes that a priority to visit that location, because that monitor is able to describe the scene, describe the individual or individuals, right? They're able to give them that needed information, so law enforcement can again quickly and effectively go on the scene and prevent that crime from occurring. So again, this is extremely valuable. I would even argue it's more valuable than having a live security guard there. You're not putting a human in harm's way. You also kind of take out that emotional element too. So hopefully that can be considered. And again, we ask that 3.2 that licensees don't have to abide by 7, 8 or more different things, right? As long as we are making the outside secure in combination, right, of having that live remote monitoring and loudspeaker, we ask that would be an exemption to 3.1. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. Next is
yeah. Oh, sorry, just real quick. Thanks to both Kevin and Sherrard for those comments. And then just a helpful thing for us is that it's good to hear this public comment, but if anybody has any proposed language, it's also good to provide those feedback in written comment as well. So I think we had the email address on the presentation, but it's marijuanainfo@denvergov.org. So thank you for your comments. And then also, if you want to supplement that at all with written comment and actual proposed language, that's always a really helpful tool for us as well. So sorry, just wanted to add that in.
Okay, Bia Campbell, I'm promoting you to a panelist.
Hi, sorry, I got kicked out and kicked back in. Thank you guys so much for working on this. We really appreciate it. I think I'm gonna piggyback a lot on what the previous speaker said. To us, from what we heard, the main points is, one, we don't feel that the 7 items are an equivalent to Rule 3.1. We think they're more burdensome, both from a financial perspective, as well as from like the result of the security in itself. To us, as we feel like as long as you secure the outskirts, the outside of the building, you're analogically creating a vault for the building. We agree with Kevin that the loudspeakers are a really good solution if we don't want to put security guards there 24/7 because of the human component. And we would support that. We would just like to see something that would create less burdensome, especially financial. If you look at all of the requirements, the 7 requirements that somebody would need to implement, they would be very costly intensive. And I think the one thing that I want to express really clearly is that 3.A and 3.B are going to be just undoable for some operators. They do not have the space to comply with creating 3 different sets of spaces inside their licensed premises. So we're really worried about that. And we would love to work with you guys to create some alternative language. We submitted a public comment that did not have red lines, but we are willing to, I know the deadline for public comments is today, but we'd love to spend the next week helping and working if you guys need any help with that and some more suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you, Bia. Not seeing any hands raised. Oh, okay. Rita, I'm promoting you to a panelist.
Hi guys, sorry. Thanks so much. So I'm just want to pretty much reiterate the same things that other speakers said, and I do appreciate you guys looking into it. We had a number of break-ins before, but I want to just give you a little history. They were all before. In recent year, I don't think we had that many break-ins, so you might want to revisit it because industry going through different cycles, and right now cost of the product is so low that thieves probably not interested as much to go after it. Also, when we had those break-ins, they were creating more damage than taking products. And I think they finally got an idea that marijuana theft is not as lucrative as they were hoping it will be. So I hope if you can look into new statistics, you might find that maybe not as needed as it was a year ago. Then all our locations are different, and we are taking different approach to security. And every time we have any attempted break-in, we are reanalyzing all our security measures. And some of them just simply not possible, like other speakers said, to reinforce in the ways that it says in the ordinance. And I'm sure there's other companies going to be pretty much in the same boat. For other rules, it would be very difficult. And what happened also is that marijuana products just not very expensive. So you can get $10 large piece of cake, for example, really cake that you have to store somewhere in a safe or vault and take it back and forth from retail floor, which is going to be just burdensome and impossible. But if we have security guards, we have it in our most locations, or implementing a voice, like we said, again, everybody's already mentioned the same thing. It creates outside vault, and that's what we're relying on. And so far, it works the best for us. Because if we're creating inside vault, they still breaking in and still damaging. So we're really not accomplishing much.
Thank you, Rita. Any other public comments? Not seeing any hands pop up. Molly, do you want to talk about next steps while we kind of wait and see if anybody?
Sure. Yeah, I was seeing if we had the marijuana info email on it where on our presentation, but it doesn't look like we do. But it's just marijuanainfo@denvergov.org. So next steps, we'll be accepting public comment. I think we had said through today, but through Monday is fine as well. And then we're hoping, we'll be taking this feedback as well as any written feedback that we get, and taking those into consideration and making any required or recommended changes. And then we'll be publishing a finalized document with that once they're adopted. As quickly as possible that anybody has recommended language or red line language, that's helpful to get to us. And we'll hopefully be looking into that sometime next week and compiling the finalized language. So we can definitely close this up unless we can hang out another minute or so if anybody wants to raise their hand and provide any additional comment. We appreciate the speakers that have given us the comment already, and also just want to make sure I go back and thank all the work group members too that sat on the work group and provided us some really great input during that process as well. So we will close this up unless there's any other last minute hands that get raised. But again, we appreciate you all coming and providing us this input, and stay tuned. Definitely sign up for the bulletin. That will be the way that we send out the next steps and information about when the rules get finalized.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.